screen. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Does everybody see if I go to full screen? John and Marilyn, is that working?
Nope, I see you
Not
still.
yet.
Oh, crap. Okay, all right. Let's see. How about if I do that now?
Yep.
It's good. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're
this
getting
should be
there.
the first image, and it's Apex by David Fox. So we can go ahead with comments if everybody's good.
Okay, I have this this image, but I did want to say a couple things. This is
Yes,
the first
please.
time I've
Yes,
done
please. I'm
the,
sorry, Marilyn. Yes, please.
right. It's the first time I've done a critique, and it's been a learning experience just trying to organize my thoughts and so on. But one thing that I think is important for a person who does a critique is to understand what the photographer, what their intent was when they made the image. And since we don't know that, I sort of have to guess. So if your intent was something different than kind of what I'm speculating, then please, let me know, let us know. And I also wanted to say that these are my opinions. They come from my experience, and people can have different opinions that are more valid or as valid. And so I hope that anyone who has thoughts on it, or especially if you disagree with me, will speak up. And in my opinion, there's a couple of kinds of photography. There's representational, and there's many reasons to do representational. It's to document, or photojournalism. Of course, you don't want to change anything. Or there's fine art, which is much more self-expressive. And I heard a podcast the other day from Brooks Jensen, who said that you can't really capture reality, and since it's a fiction already, change it to make it better, and change it to meet your vision. So I'm not looking for the perfect capture of reality when I look at your images. The camera really is a tool to impart a meaning or a story, and not so much what you capture, but the feeling that you get from your image, or that the viewer gets. So everything in a photo is a choice, and my choice might be different than yours, and that's okay. So I want to start with David's image on the trees. So the intent, I thought, was to emphasize how tall the trees are, and to make you feel that there's something greater on this earth than us as human beings are. It's pretty majestic. It really fits the leading line category, because all the tree trunks kind of go toward the center, and that one tree in the center doesn't have any or very few leaves on it. So it kind of is kind of isolated there in the middle. And there's 3 birds flying. There's probably more birds flying up, but 3 birds in the open area. So everything, the lines just take you right up to seeing all of that. A lot of people try to do this type of an image up into the trees, but what makes this image different, I think, is that the trees are not centered, and that they're a little, I'd say a little bit above, but there's kind of that white space that makes a really slight S curve coming through, and your eye kind of follows that and checks out all the trees as you go by. The trunks are tack sharp, and that helps lead your eyes, but the leaves are soft. And at first I wondered if it was a low resolution, but I think it's because they're a light color. And I really like that, because it gives a sort of a softness behind those stark, dark branches. And they, they have very little detail in them. There's some darker foliage at the bottom of the image. Not really showing on my screen, so maybe the whole image isn't showing, but I thought that gave it a good grounding. You kind of feel like, you're not going to float up in the air. I really only had one suggestion, and that is to try a mild vignette on it. Not anything really dark, but something with a lot of feathering to it. I think that would contribute to the leading line feeling, and it might add just a little bit more drama to the image.
Excuse me,
Yep.
Rags,
Yes, ma'am.
can you get rid of the side panels and the panel on the bottom?
Try hitting the letter F on your keyboard.
F? Okay, I'll try that. Well, that's what I was doing as I was using the full screen. So I'll try it again. Try full. How's that?
No, go back.
We got
Try Shift Tab.
Shift tab?
Shift Tab.
Okay, how's that?
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, great.
There you
Okay,
go.
good tip.
Yep.
Another fine tip. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You
Yep.
can even see better the kind of the white S of the sky, S kind of curve coming through, and then the darker foliage at the bottom.
Yeah, if you want my
Great.
input, as I named it Apex, I heard the crows coming. Those are crows flying over. And this is an iPhone picture. And I just happened to be out for my walk, and I had seen some of these pictures, and those leaves are actually, it's in the fall. So what I did is sort of an infrared effect for the leaves. You lighten the foliage with an infrared effect, but yet you're still keeping the darker lines. I put just enough sharpening on it, to keep that some definition in it. And there is a slight vignette already, but I didn't want it to focus down too hard. So, but yeah, I felt very lucky that I heard the crows, and then all of a sudden I looked up and like, oh, 1, 2, 3, and they were almost all in the clear. So it was sort of an opportune moment. You see them and hear them, but they don't usually position themselves that well.
Make your own luck. Good, good stuff.
Yeah. So, but thanks. Good comments.
Yep. Okay, so the next image is Autumn Morning by Alan Hoare.
Well, there we go. Great fall day. I like the leading lines of the curved lines leading right into the center of the photo. It just kind of adds to the serenity. It kind of softens the thoughts. Too bad about having the cars in there, but we all know where that is and what's going on. So I don't know how you get around that. Maybe if you'd moved to the right a step or two, you might have been able to do something, but it's pretty hard. I thought that warming the scene just very slightly and brightening the shadows kind of makes the barn bridge pop a little bit. There's other things you can mess with the colors, the oranges and the yellows. And also I thought that playing with clarity, sometimes dropping the clarity kind of gives it a softer feel, but still stay sharp.
Okay, great. So I assume that's over by Slim Bear, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
so-
sure we've all
Alan,
taken
any
this
comments?
picture. It's good stuff.
Pure stocking.
Oh, Pier Stocking, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
that was the meetup we did last October. And
I kind of like to gotten the cars out of there too, but I was part of our group, so I thought, yeah, just keep them in there.
I
Yeah.
thought I saw my car up there.
And mine is way up in the front. The colors, as I see them here, aren't as bright as what I submitted. I shoot in Adobe color, and we have supposedly we're supposed to change that to sRGB, and it kind of it throws the color off for me, and then I spend the next 20 minutes trying to bring that color back to what it originally looked like. I'm not very good at it.
Great image though. Okay, so next image is Bunker Door by Alicia Erickson.
This is the kind of subject that I really like to shoot. So my guess on the intent was to show kind of the decay of an old building, kind of our history and the mystery of the room behind it. It has the leading lines, obviously the I don't know if they're inset beams in the ceiling and some of the cement lines in the floor, but also the wide jamb of the doorway kind of makes you lead in to the other room too and keeps your eye going that way. There's some weak light on the wall, sort of feathers across the back wall, and also I think that kind of draws you, keeps you kind of drawing into the picture. At first I wondered if it was artificial light or window light, but then looking at the door jamb, there's sort of light coming from both sides of that wide door jamb, and it just looks like natural light to me. It's just very fortunate and very beautiful light on it. The depth of field is appropriate. It's pretty sharp all the way back, a little bit soft in the far wall, which I think is appropriate. The exposure is good, and I like the composition, the doorway in the middle, but taken at an angle. I really like that. My feeling is that you weren't trying to be representational on this. It's kind of leaning toward more artistic. And so my only suggestion would be to up the drama a little bit and possibly a little more of a vignette. I'm not sure if there's a vignette on it, but it's pretty mild if it is. And maybe a little more contrast, but I'm a little bit leery of that. I wouldn't want to see the floor go any darker. I think the floor is just perfect the way it is. So very nice image.
Yeah, great comments. And there are about 10 comments. Is there anything that we need to add to the conversation?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
No, I'm watching that chat.
All right, good. I just want to make sure if there's any questions, let me know, okay?
Oh, I will.
Okay,
It's just hard to get in there. I hate to interrupt somebody when they're talking, you know?
Yeah, no, that's why I gave you a chance to talk. So if there's anything, let me know. Okay, so
Okay.
the next one is Colors of Autumn by Cecil Thomas.
And this one's very similar to David's shot, except in full color. And, just a spectacular day. The only thing I was thinking about was maybe rotating this just very slightly to straighten up that center tree. Just to kind of pull you straight into it. You just kind of gave me a feeling of it's like I'm leaning to one side or something. But it's minor. The other thing was I think you could maybe open the shadows on this thing, on the darker areas. And this is another one that after Alan's picture, I put it up and started messing with the clarity just a little bit and turning it down, which I never do, and that sort of thing. But it really makes colors pop. And if that's the intent here, the title was Colors of Autumn. That might be something to think about.
Cecil, any comments? For me, I just want to make a quick comment. It has almost an abstract painting feel because of the way the color dabs are going through the image. It's really delightful. So Cecil, any comments? You can hit the space bar to unmute.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that part. Yeah, I agree. I was taken by the multitude of colors, and Rags, I agree with you. It's that thought passed my mind as well. And I like the idea of getting the blue sky in and off center. And I did put a slight vignette on it also.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so the next image is Crisscross by David Fox.
Another nice image, David. Trying to figure out the intent. The title really kind of gave it to me, and that is that you're looking at capturing the vertical lines and the horizontal lines from the shadows. And this is something that always captures my eye when I'm out in the woods or even driving by them, the beautiful shadows in the woods like that. The leading lines, my eye first followed the line of trees going back to the distance, but then they started taking side trips across on the shadow lines until I ran into the tree on the left. Then it came back down and I kind of started the process all over again. There's a lot to look at in there. Sometimes it would take a different shadow across. One of the things that helps kind of keep the eye moving around the image too is that dark background. And I really like that. The focus is good all the way back. The sunlight on the edge, kind of getting the side edges of the tree trunks, really kind of separate them out, and it was really pretty on there. I do think that the image could use a little bit more drama, and I'm not really quite sure how to do that. In a way, I kind of think the twigs and with the leaves on them kind of take away from the subject, but I'm not sure. So I guess that would be the only thing, and that's a trial and error. I don't know whether that would make a difference or not.
Excellent comments. David, any feedback?
Yeah, actually, what's interesting with that light, even though it was sunset in a pretty hot sun, with the snow on the ground, it illuminated everything so nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Normally those trees where we're looking at the vertical trees, those would have been, I brought up the shadows a little bit, but I didn't have to do it that much. And one of the things I really liked is that started to bring out all that detail in the bark and the lichens and everything. But yeah, it was amazing the amount of light that's bouncing off the snow and bouncing all over the place. So it really lit it up nice. I was gonna go for darker shadows and really darken it down. It actually works that way with black. If I turn it to black and white, it becomes a more graphic image. But I thought I would try the color since I'm known for my black and white. I thought I'd work on the color. And but yeah, it was real interesting because when I brought it up in the computer, it was like, wow, I just couldn't believe how much light there was even in the shadows because it was bouncing off the snow. So it's a big light box basically. So
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, next image is Evolution by Rochelle Stark.
Yeah, this is a real slick one. Uh, the swirls lead you right into the center, or from the center lead you out. That's really nice. One thing I thought about with this one was maybe cropping it to a square and tightening it up to get rid of the kind of the dead space around the outside, so it would be totally focused on the swirls. Some of the swirl would go away. I'd probably put that center point down at the lower right third line, and try that. But boy, it's just a really nice image.
Yeah, great.
Beautiful.
Is Rochelle on? I didn't see her. I
I
don't
don't
think she
think
left.
so.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on. Okay, so the next image is Fall Drive by Jerry Stutzman.
Well, this is a beautiful fall picture. And I think that was the intent to maybe show you're out for a fall, as the title says, out for a fall drive. And I kind of feel like I'm there taking a drive. The leading lines are, of course, the curve of the road and the yellow stripe down the road, the fence line with the trees along it, and also that curve of the ditch on the lower left corner. I think they're all leading lines taking you on down the road. The depth of field is appropriate. The exposure is good. The composition is balanced, and it controls where the viewer's eye falls and where it goes. As far as suggestions, on my screen, it looks like the color has been punched up just a bit too far, but I know fall can be that way sometimes. It's especially noticeable, I think, in the blues in the sky. And on the taller conifer, it has some blue edges in there. There's something strange at the far right side by the road. I suspect what happened is that there was something there that you didn't want in the image, because you can kind of see a reflection in the road. And in cloning it out, the cloning just didn't quite hit the right spot.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think that could be easily fixed. I'm glad you didn't crop out whatever was there, because I think it needs that space on that
Mhm.
end of the fence and
Mhm.
the feel that you're gonna keep on going. So very nice image.
Yeah. Jerry, do you have any comments?
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those images. I've drove by this place so many times, and you see the trees there and the fence, but no leaves or no color. It's all green, and you keep saying, "Wow, this may be a good photo someday." And I was out doing a drive and ended up coming down this road, and all of a sudden, kaboom! There it is. So I pulled off to the side and hurriedly had to take some pictures of that. I'm not sure what I took out in that one corner up there. You may be right. So I do remove objects that I don't think belong in the picture. But it was just one of the beautiful. The sun was fairly bright, even though the clouds are there. The sun, the trees are to the east, if you will. So the sun's would be off to the left or to the right of this picture coming in. And it was a fairly bright day. Hence, we got some shadows and various things in the grass. But I was just excited to see this day. So got a few pictures of it.
That's great. Good. Okay.
I really like the
Nick?
flow of that.
Sorry?
I like the flow. You're using
Oh.
leading lines, but then the flow from left to right, it's had such a strong image. We normally read, you know, in our books from left to right. So this
Okay,
makes
that's
it a
true.
very natural feeling. It's very peaceful, even though there's a road there, but the flow of it has really beautiful impact on this.
We can thank the road engineers for that.
Yeah, well, in your eye,
In your eye, yeah.
the
Yeah.
trees, everything flows. You got that darker spot on the right. So
Yeah.
Just thought I'd bring that up because that's something to get, really add a lot of strength to an image.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I
Well, thank
like
you.
it. I like it too. Great. Okay. So next image is Hooked by Ann Kennedy.
Yeah. Yeah, nice little line there. The I said that's leading lines, not fishing lines. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The file I had was really noisy. I mean, I thought it would benefit a lot by a bunch of noise reduction. The other thing would be simplify things a little bit. I think I would crop this a little tighter just to get rid of some of the left side, even the right side a little bit, like going to an 8x10 instead of a 4x6 here or whatever that is. And potentially putting a little bit of blur into the background just to isolate the fisherman.
Okay. Ann, any comments?
Well, I didn't really have anything to put in for this time, and I thought that was a nice line there. So, but it's not really a leading line. But I was on a bird walk and down by the river, Boardman River, whatever, and I saw this guy fly fishing, and I'd never seen anybody fly fishing before. So I was shooting through the trees, and it was really. It had a lot of garbage in it, and I was trying to learn content where it fell. So really my intent was working in Lightroom and not really doing the assignment. Sorry about that.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no
nothing wrong with
apologies.
that. That's exactly it.
No apologies, Ann.
I don't know what you're talking about noise. I thought noise was when you had a real dark picture.
Well, no, Al, noise can happen anytime, depending on the ISO settings and shutter speed.
Yeah.
If you go into Lightroom and over on the right side it says effects, or well, no, it's under the detail slider, right?
Mm-hmm.
And either sharpen the top few lines are sharpening, and then there's a couple of lines that say luminosity and color, and the luminosity slider will reduce the noise in the picture. So the fellow's face looks kind of crunchy. It smooths that out and sharpens it up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'll try that. Thank you.
Okay, great.
I
The
have,
next,
I have a
Okay.
comment on this, and I think the the fishing line is a little bit soft. And I think that shows the motion of him whipping it back and forth. So I thought that was well done.
yeah.
I was going to comment that I think the fishing line actually is a good leading line, because my eye starts at his right hand and follows the line out to somewhere in the creek, whether it may be a nice brown or something on the end of the line.
Yeah, that'd be a great day. Good. Okay, so next image is Leading to Glory by Ragnar Avery.
This, I wasn't quite sure what the glory was, but it definitely is leading someplace. And so I thought it really fit the category. I really like how I guess the intent I thought was showing how the sea and the sky kind of plays with the sea stacks out there, and how the water kind of washes around them. And it's just a beautiful shot. Leading lines, the diminishing size of the sea stacks, and that leads to the kind of point of land over there. And from there, my eye would kind of follow the edge of that darkest cloud up, come around through the light part, come back to the biggest sea stack. And something I noticed and is that then my eye would kind of follow the water rushing toward me. But because that is a little bit soft, which is appropriate, I would go right back to that C stack and I'd kind of start that circle around again and kind of look at all the details again. I think the depth of field is great. It gets a little bit soft in the background and that could be haze in the sky, but that doesn't bother me at all. I think it's appropriate. The biggest stack has a lot of detail in it and it's well, I guess the exposure on that is done well. I really like the feeling of the water rushing toward me. I can't really think of anything else to suggest on this. Maybe a little vignette to kind of help with keeping the eye in, although my eye stayed in, kind of on a vignette kick tonight, I think. But it's just a beautiful sky and a beautiful shot.
Right, so there's a question. Carol wants to know if you remember the exposure.
Yeah, so this would have been Oregon coast, and it would have been probably a tide change, probably, and so the water was actually flowing out, and it would have been typically when I do that, I would use the same kind of a go-to about 1/5 of a second is what I use for like flowing water, like around a waterfall or that kind of thing. I start with around 1/5 of a second, and then of course, as Marilyn was explaining, I use probably as good a depth of field as I could get, probably F16, F18. Okay, great. Thanks for the feedback. That was excellent. Hold on, I gotta get my
Yeah,
phone woke up.
it was 1/5 of a second at F8, ISO 250.
Well, there you go. The magic of metadata.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so the next item is Leading by Ann Kennedy. Ooh.
Yeah, this is the labyrinth down at the Botanical Center, and great spot. I like the use of the path leading right onto the labyrinth. It looks to me like things are tilted just a little bit, not much, but just a tiny bit high on the right. So, you might consider figuring out. The other thing was maybe moving like 2 feet to your left to get that center black line right in the center of the photograph. Might have done something for you. The other thought I had on this one was it would be really slick if you had somebody walking the labyrinth out there. And that would really give you the drama, I think, of the serenity of the scene.
Nice. Anne, any comments?
No, I had tried to get some of those shadows out of there, but I couldn't figure that out, how to do that. So
yeah, no, it's all right.
And they're a bit intense, but
I really
Well,
like it in black and white.
I like it in black and white too. Yeah.
yeah,
So
black and white is great.
yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. And that's over by the barns in the commons area?
yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
I'm gonna check that out. I like it.
When you're driving in, instead of driving straight up, you make that first right turn,
Uh-huh.
and it's right in there. And then this path comes down from the visitor center.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. Next image is, I believe it's Native Plants Taste Best by John Gill.
This is a beautiful shot. I think I neglected to say at the beginning that representational shots can also be artistic, and I think this really fits that. It's, you know, showing the bee, or probably a hornet, not sure what it is, in its, you know, its daily activity there. I wasn't quite sure why this was in the assignment category. There's lines in there, but I'm not sure they're leading lines. The image has a beautiful depth of field. The softness of the background makes the kind of one plane of the blossoms pop, and as well as the hornet. The square crop, I think, is perfect for this, and the bee is just a little bit down and a little bit right of center, which I think is nice. The yellow and green colors, of course, are beautiful. And the bee, or the hornet, is really sharp. You can see the kind of detail in the wings and the fur. You call it a fur and a hornet. So, and the branches of the and blossoms of the plant kind of frame the hornet. The only suggestion I had was for that darn bee. Why didn't he turn around and look at you?
Chased him.
Yeah. Any comments, John?
No, that's, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, great. Okay, so next image is March Afternoon by Rochelle Stark.
Yeah, this one feels like a cold March day.
Yeah.
Basically, I like to simplify things. And I would crop this a little closer. And there's just so much sky there. And I just wonder how necessary it is. I think that she could crop to an 8x10 format, eliminating some sky. I don't know that I would also move, if I was taking the picture myself, I'd move to the right and try to get straight on with the little hut.
Mm.
Everything just kind of feels like it's going in a general direction, but not totally planned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
I would add to that. I like it kind of on the angle like that. I think it gives it a little bit of energy. I don't know, could probably adjust that a little bit. I agree with the sky, taking off a little bit of the sky.
yeah, I think if she'd hit the dehaze, I'll bet there's more detail in that sky than you think there is.
Oh, yeah, could be.
Yeah.
And
Then I might keep
that
the
really
sky.
tends to crank the dehaze up, and there may be some other stuff in there that'll
Yeah.
make it interesting. Make the sky interesting.
Okay, great. Okay, next image is Oregon Sunset by Rick Sack.
I think that probably the intent of this was to capture this beautiful landscape and the sunset. The leading lines, of course, the fascia on the edge of the roof there leads back to where the sun is. The tree branches kind of embrace the sun. Although my eye wants to stop at that little bright spot of yard right past the building, there's that little opening where I think that's water kind of through there, and that kind of keeps my eye going after a short pause. And then the layers of trees kind of keep my eye going back. I think appropriate depth of field here. The mountains are a little bit soft. That could be the haze, but I think that's also appropriate. That is kind of what they look like usually. And the thing is when my eye goes down that roof line and then it, hits the mountains and then it goes right on the mountains, but then it doesn't seem to have any place to go. So I'm thinking that it might be helpful if you lightened up some of that dark area, not way to the corner, but just underneath the tree there. And that would kind of help bring the eye back around.
Hmm.
I don't know if this is possible. Somebody who does this more than I do might be able to say, but I'm wondering if the camera place was moved just a little bit to put that sun kind of closer to behind a branch, that you might get more starburst from it. Or use a star filter that there's a little bit there. And I guess I was hoping to see a little bit more.
Hmm. Good. Rick, any comments? You can hit the space bar to make a comment, unmute yourself.
Mute. Now can you
Hey,
hear?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, that is not water there below, down towards the middle. Those are actually rooftops of some industrial buildings there.
Oh,
And I shot this several times trying to get that starburst with the sun, and I just couldn't quite get it. This was as close as I got to it. I have better starburst pictures, including one from last month or the month before, but this one just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And is that Eastern Oregon? So like Bend area?
No, it's southwestern Oregon, and Grants Pass is the name of the town.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, we both have a love for Oregon, so I was just a little curious.
One of my
Scouting
favorite spots.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, good. Next image is Origin by Ted Lacey.
And I've been looking at this one and I have not a clue as to what to say about it. It's really interesting. It's noisy, but it was taken at a 25,000 plus ISO. And I'm sure that's what the intent was. Kind of the egg shape gives you that, emphasizes that origin, I think.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know. It's a crazy picture, and it's
Yeah, I love it.
really interesting. I mean, it's just look at this one for a long time, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so Ted, tell us a little bit about it.
I was walking in a local park and I saw this low-lying vegetation. I think it was late last summer.
Uh-huh.
And I like the shape of the leaves. You can't really tell the way it turned out. I think in Photoshop, I used spherize and then polar coordinates. I
Wow.
probably did about 3 o'clock in the morning. Crazy is good. I resonate with that crazy. The way it turned out, I like the lines kind of leading in towards the middle.
Yeah. So I have a question, Ted. So did you use a lens ball or did you do this with Photoshop only?
For only Photoshop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like something kind of burgeoning, maybe out of
Yeah.
chaos. Something.
Yeah. You could do a whole study on this.
Is
You're gonna have
this
to
maybe
teach
the
me how to
Big Bang?
do.
That's what it looks like.
the
Yeah.
colors are beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah, very creative.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I got to learn more about this one.
And the background around the back, all coming in is, and then your oval shape. It's great juxtaposition. It's really catches the eye, drives it right to you. Center.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thank you, David.
Ted, I got to ask another question. I'm sorry to keep everybody hold. So is Sphere Eyes a filter in Photoshop?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
photo.
Okay. Thank you. Wow. That's awesome.
Thank you, Regina.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Oh, I guess it's me. A Rushing River by Ragnar Avery.
This is an absolutely gorgeous photo. I don't know if we're supposed to say this, but I nominated this for the President's Award. Yeah, there you go. And so I guess the intent is to show this gorgeous landscape. The leading lines, my eye starts with that water in the foreground. It follows it back along the curve to the little waterfall. Then it keeps on going into that light misty area in the background. And then my eye hits that branch that's sort of lit by the sun there and follows that back, and I'm right back down into the water. And I could look at this water for forever. I know it's a personal choice how flowing to make the water, how fast to shutter speed or how slow. And I think you have it perfect here, in my opinion. I just really, really love that. The exposure is great. The depth of field is great. I love the composition. I love the fact that the river curves and kind of goes off, or comes in, and I guess it goes off in the lower right-hand corner. So it's really, I just think a nice composition. I would say I don't have any suggestions, but then I have just a little bit of that really light spot to the left of the waterfall. That might be just a touch too bright. That really didn't bother me until I was looking for something to suggest.
It's good. It's good. I like it.
So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't darken it a whole lot, if at all. But the whole image is just really gorgeous.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm humbled. Thank you. Good. Well, this is a waterfall inland of Oregon, about an hour from the coast. So, yeah. All right. It was good. Thank you.
Do you know what your shutter speed was to get the water?
Yeah, that would have been probably, as you know, Marilyn, I would probably, if it's a bright day, I would put a neutral density filter on of about +3 stops easily. And then I would be shooting for something that was in the neighborhood of a 1/5 to an 1/8. I'd play around with shutter speeds specifically to get texture in, so it's not so marshmallowy, so you don't know that it's water, right? So that's my goal when I do that. I'll shoot a couple images, then I'll look and see, I'll zoom in specifically like that mid-third there to see if the water's got some texture, but enough that it still flows. And usually a 1/5 of a second would be my go-to. Yeah.
This,
Thank
you
you.
did a 1/4 second on this one, Rags.
Oh, there you go. Quarter.
Or
So I had to go a little
F14, ISO 160, 35 millimeters.
Primordial. It's prehistoric.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so thank you very much for the feedback. I much appreciate it. Next image is Throwing Stones Off the Bridge by Alan Hoare.
As a kid having a good time. I like it nice and cropped nice and tight. Would like to have seen more of his face. Other than that, one thing you might have tried is shoot it from behind so you could see the river. Thought about that. There's his arms and hands are a bit hot, and he could be toned down just a tad, but and I think you could warm this photo up a little bit too.
Yeah, that's another situation where I converted it from Adobe to sRGB, and it actually looked better on my monitor than I see it here as far as colors. So I don't know. It's
that's something I noticed, that the colors I'm seeing here are not the same as what downloaded and who knows? Depends on the monitor and the settings and everything else. So
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought with the sun so hot on his neck and his arms and his face being in shadow, that it really is marvelous that it's not too dark a shadow on his face. I think it's great. You can see his expression and his, eyelashes, his nose. So that, I don't know if you lightened the shadows, but whatever you did was a good job on that.
Yeah. Good. Okay, next image is Umbrellas by Ed Crippen.
There was a question.
Sure, Ann.
Excuse me. Jim wants to know where the shot was taken of the little boy.
Alan?
That's in Pennsylvania, in the upper edge of the Appalachians. It's a little creek. They call it Stony Run.
Oh,
It's about probably 50 miles east of Pittsburgh.
okay, cool. Thank you, Alan. Okay, next image is Umbrellas by Ed Crippen.
I thought that the intent of this was to kind of showcase the beach with its line of chairs and umbrellas and all the tourist hotels along the background. I think the leading line is, of course, the chairs and the umbrellas kind of leading toward that, converging in the center back. And then it sort of stops at that wall of building, and following the buildings around takes your eye back to the front, and you kind of start looking around again. The bright building at the end of the converging lines, I think, also kind of draws your eye back there. I think the exposure is good. Might just be a touch bright, but there's bright sun there. The depth of field is appropriate. It's sharp from front to back. Dare I say that I'm glad there wasn't a whole bunch of people there messing up that nice line of chairs and umbrellas. As far as suggestions, I'm on this vignette kick. I think a slight vignette might look good on this, worth trying, I would say. Also, I wondered if, and I don't know what was behind you as you stood there to take the picture, but if you could back up a little bit, it looks like a walkway coming down between rows of chairs that kind of crosses in the front there. And it would be kind of fun, I think, to see what it would look like if you kind of backed into the next batch of chairs, if there are any. I don't know if there were. Also, maybe even try it if you could get up higher and just get a little bit more of that beautiful turquoise color of the umbrellas.
Yeah.
I think that might be pretty amazing,
Yeah.
but a well done picture.
And can you tell me, is Ed online? I don't know. I don't remember.
No,
seeing-
he's not.
Okay, great. All right, we'll move ahead then. Okay, so next image is What's Ahead for Autumn by Steve Engel.
Interesting shot using the photo ball and the road leading you to the vanishing point there and into the woods. Nice colors. I think you might have been able to open the shadows just a touch. The other thing I thought about was maybe to simplify things, go with a square crop, since the top and the bottom of the ball are already nicked off. Do the same on the sides, and that would kind of further emphasize the road and the colors in the center.
Nice. Steve, do you have any comments on this?
I kind of did this with the thought of looking into your crystal ball. It was early fall and the leaves were just starting to turn. I'm deer hunting at this time. So I usually come out of the woods during noon and take a few pictures and then I go back hunting again. And so as I drove down the road just a little ways, it was just made me wonder, you know, how good is the colors going to be this year and where are they going to be? And I did some shots without the ball, and then I thought, well, gee, you know, I'm wondering what's going on. So maybe if I did it like a crystal ball. So that was my thinking when I did the shot.
That's great. So are you going to have a discussion group on how to shoot with a crystal ball?
I can. It would have to be next year though.
Okay, that's a good plan.
Okay.
I vote for it.
All right.
All right, great. Okay, so next image is where is the darn icebreaker?
Let's say it what it says now, Rags. Geez. Don't change the title.
I love the title. I thought the intent was to capture this goose in a kind of an unusual situation, sitting on ice. I've never seen one sitting on the ice, but I'm sure it happens. My other thought was, I don't know if it looks like it's melting a little bit around him. Maybe his feet are in the water, but I don't think so. I think he's sitting on the ice, so that icebreaker really fits. I'm not sure this really fits the leading line category, and you can tell me, you know, why you think it does. But I'm thinking it has just a beautiful depth of field. The goose is sharp. The weeds in the foreground are way out of focus, which I think is perfect. And the reeds in the far back are soft, which I think also is just perfect. And I love the color, the way it reflects in that smoother ice in the back, or maybe that's water, but I think it's ice. So I think the color and the exposure is nice. There's a lovely catch light in his eye. And the composition, I like the goose down in that kind of lower right third of the frame. And probably just luck, but I like that white line. Maybe that's your leading line, that white line that kind of crosses from left to right underneath him or just in front of him. That just kind of adds some interest to the ice. The only suggestion I have, and it might not have been possible, but I would like to see just a little bit more space between the goose and those lower out of focus reeds. They almost come right up and merge with him. And so maybe a little more space, but it might not have been possible to get there. But I really like the weeds there because it shows he's surrounded by his habitat, but just a little more space, I think, would have set him apart a little bit more. Actually, I'm not feeling really strongly about that. Pretty ambivalent, actually, but that was a thought that I had. So it's very, very nice capture.
Yeah, so
Thought about taking them out entirely, but then I kind of decided I liked them in there, but they could be shortened up some.
Yeah, maybe.
What
Yeah,
happened
I
was-
really like them in there.
The 3 or 4 days ago, this pond totally melted and was totally open. And then this night it got to 15 degrees and it froze over. So he got up in the morning, there's this poor goose sitting out there in the middle of the ice. So he's still around. He's coming up and visiting us every day.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, next image is Artistic Light and Glass by Steve Ingham.
This one to
This is
me
in the
is
open
really
category
something.
so everybody knows we started the open category now. Sorry, John.
I don't know what to tell you, Steve. This is just a great shot, and just pure color, reflections. I think you could probably sit there with the Camera Raw or Photoshop or whatever and change the colors and do all sorts of stuff with it. It's just a really nice.
Yeah. I'd love to see it printed in metal. So Steve, you got any comments?
Yeah.
Not a lot. It was just a fun night. A group of photographers got together and played with some light painting, and the balls are sitting on some little tiny black O-rings on black plexiglass.
Oh, yeah.
So you could get the reflections, and it was just fun, and I got some pretty art that night, and I thought it was pretty cool. So
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Nice.
I love it too. How did you get the streaks? Is that fabric in the background or how?
no, that's big light wand,
Oh,
almost like a Star Wars lightsaber type thing. And you just put a flashlight in the end of it, and it lights up the whole thing.
it's beautiful.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Okay, next image is Backyard Guest by Alan Hoare.
I think this is a representational photograph and done very well. The leading, or it's not, doesn't have leading lines. The focus on him is sharp. You can see all the little hairs, the little creases in his feet. There's a nice catchlight in his eye. It's a shallow depth of field, so the background has got a really nice bokeh to it. And I really like that. I think it shows just enough of the feeder so that you know he's in your backyard, but not too much of the feeder. It's good placement with space in the front of his beak, but I thought it was a little bit tight at the top. It's almost feels like he's ducking to stay in the frame. I would give it a little more space at the top, probably as much as the height of his crust there again on top of him. It's kind of tight by his tail, but that does not bother me. You know, maybe just a tiny bit more space back there, but it's fine the way it is if that isn't possible. So yeah, very, very good capture. Just love all those feathers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alan, any comments?
I had bought a remote trigger for the camera, and it was one of these that works on a radio frequency. So it has a range of probably about, I think it's about 100 yards. But I just put the camera on a tripod and park it up next to this thing, and you know, just get everything set up right. And I cover it with a plastic bag so that the only so it's kind of right in the flight path. I thought the only thing I wanted to see white on my camera was the name. But I just I came back in the house and sat down with a cup of coffee in one hand and a trigger in the other hand, and just watched to see what happened, you know, what showed up.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so the next image is Before the Storm by Carol Graylick.
This is Carol, I think, trying to make us believe she's upside down somehow.
Don't you love it?
It's
fantastic.
It's really nice. It's a very impressionistic view, reflection of trees in a stream or whatever, and And I don't know, it just takes a special vision to come up with this kind of impressionistic photo opportunity. You see it, flip it over. It's great stuff.
Yeah. So Carol, you gotta give us a little backstory on this one. This is great.
Yeah, thanks, John. After the first time I captured some reflections, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, and I feel like it was a winter where there was a lot of ice built up along the shore. And so for all of March and certainly into April, I could hike along and see little pools of melted water. And I feel like if I hadn't stumbled on that spring, I might never have learned how to look for reflections. And that's all. If I'm walking, yeah, my head's down a lot. I'm just looking at something else, but it's just practicing seeing. And I always like to see what I can see, that we walk right by all the time.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Way to go.
Daryl, you must have focused on the water surface because you have that texture.
Yeah.
That slightly disturbed water. I love it.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
cool.
Thank you. There was a pretty bright spot, a real hot spot there from the sun. And I feel like I took it down enough, and I don't think it's too distracting. So it's kind of in the middle left, close to
really?
the edge. It was pretty hot, and I was happy to be able to take that spot down. So yeah.
Yeah.
Like that little bit of color in it, a little bit of blue,
Mm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
a little bit of orange on the bottom there. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, next image is January Midnight by Ted Lacey.
This is a beautiful shot too. I think it really captures the desolation and cold of a winter night. I think the converging lines could have put this into the leading lines assignment category.
Yeah.
The composition is very nice. It's narrow, but it captures the fence and the tree line. There's a street on the other side of those trees, but you can't see it. So it's kind of nice to know that this is just a neighborhood. The depth of field falls off just enough at the far end, or perhaps it's snow in the air that makes that a little bit soft, but I think that adds to the mystery of midnight. The focus is good on the closer trees and the fence. I think that the snow on the fence kind of pumps up the detail of that, which might be lost if there wasn't snow there. I really like that the path has been used, but it's not shoveled except for that industrious homeowner about halfway back. There's a little section that looks like it was shoveled, but otherwise I just like the foot traffic marks on the sidewalk. It has great texture, and I think it's perfect in black and white, and I really don't have any suggestions for it. I think it's great.
Ted, do you have some comments?
Yeah, I took that in the 70s. That's why I didn't put it in the assignment category. That's the street where I used to live in Chicago. And that was very early in my career. And I printed it in my darkroom. It was a wet print. I think I shot it with Tri-X. And then I copied the print with film. So it could be sharper if it was the original. I went out for a walk and I took my dog and I said, whoa, got to go back for the camera. The camera tripod came back out. The dog stayed with me the whole time.
Oh, wow. That's
But
awesome.
notice the detail in the trunk on the right-hand side. You do have nice detail in there.
Yeah.
That closest tree has been cut down since, so it cannot be duplicated.
Yeah. There's a sense of mystery to it, the way it tunnels down, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not clear back there. It's how far does that go?
Yeah.
What's back there? It's a great shot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next image is Lighting the Clouds by Rick Sack.
Now, this is some spectacular sunset for sure. The only thing I would say in this one, that if you're looking to emphasize the light on the clouds, I think I would crop this thing to the point where the sun was only about 1/6 of the way up from the bottom, just to kind of eliminate the most of the cliffs there, and probably well, how can I say it? I'd go with about an 8x10 crop and put the sun at about that on 1/3, but only about 1/6 of the way up. And that would let you emphasize all those dark clouds up to the left of the sun. That's, to me, the most spectacular part of this thing. And then maybe play with the light in that area. The blue sky, it's almost just too much dead space up there, and the same on the bottom. I'm not sure it's adding to your clouds.
Rick, any comments?
And yet the light on the clouds is truly spectacular.
Yeah. Rick, any comments? Is this a part of your Grand Canyon series? Oh, you might be on mute, Rick.
To find yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is from the Grand Canyon. This was shot from the North Rim.
Oh,
And a sunset, obviously, and I just loved the way it shone up under the clouds there. And the other thing I liked about this, and the reason I didn't crop it anymore at the top, is that you can see where there's the rays kind of come up through the clouds and then spread out over the top of them. And I like the way that went up, and on the right, how it kind of went right up into the corner. So that's one reason I didn't crop it anymore at the top. And I didn't want to crop it too much at the bottom, because I wanted it to have both that near base and the farther base, to give it kind of a little more depth as you're looking into it.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Quick question: how hard is it to get to the North Rim? Because it looks like it could be pretty torturous. Is it very hard to get shots from the North Rim?
Actually, it wasn't too bad. A lot depends on where you go. This was, shot from I'm trying to think what location it was now, and I don't remember. I'd have to look into my my data and so forth. But no, it wasn't particularly hard. There are a number of places where you can walk out and get to a vista and catch the other side.
Oh, great. Okay, good. All right, thank you. All right, next image is Rain Study 22 by Carol Graylick.
I really love this, and kind of an abstraction or an impressionist feeling of the trees. In this one too, I was debating whether you actually turned the image 180 degrees or it's a double exposure. Whichever way it was done, it's well done. I love the lines at the bottom, all the streaks in the puddle, and the rings from the raindrops. You can see those in there. It just adds texture to it. I love the muted colors. It would be interesting to see what it looks like in black and white, but I think I really like the muted colors. Pretty minimalist on that. There's a lot to look at, and it just keeps my eye moving around. The only suggestion I have, and it's really kind of what you want from this, is to take off about the top third of the image, which is just basically pavement, and keep the part you can still see the pavement through some of the water, but this, the top third or less than that maybe is just pure pavement. And so I don't know what that really adds to the picture. Seeing the pavement through the water does add some texture to it, and I really like that. And I don't mind knowing that it's taken in a puddle on a road. I think that's part of the, the story of the picture. But all the light and dark and the streaks and the drips and the puddles, and I think just make it a beautiful picture.
So Carol, you have any comments?
No, thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, I wonder what I would do with the pavement. Sometimes I like the illusion of thinking of the stones as stars or snowflakes. So I don't remember if I thought about cropping it further. I just don't remember, but I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, I really like the mix of the textures. You have everything from like brush strokes to, the pock marks, the little speckles, the speckles of the stones. It's very nice transition from one top to bottom, bottom to top.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
that's
spend
great.
some time with it.
That's fantastic.
One other thing I thought about was that tree on the left really leans inward, but the tree, so I thought that needed to be straightened because the tree on the right is straight up. But the more I thought about it, I kind of like it leaning in a little bit. So again, maybe something to look at, but I'm not sure which that I would really like best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
our last image of the evening is Venus by Alicia Erickson. Oh, veins.
Veins.
Sorry. I had Venus on my brain when it's veins. Sorry, apologies. Darn it.
Is that my
Really interesting study of a leaf. I think it could be a little stronger by showing nothing but the leaf. And that would really emphasize the veins. I think the white tile or whatever that is around the outside, it all kind of distracts from the veins. So I don't think you need the outside. I think I would just show the internal part of the leaf. Could be done in the camera. Just get up close and personal with it. You could even turn this one 180 degrees, then to show it more like a tree with the veins. Punch up the yellows a little bit, maybe even. Really interesting.
Yeah.
To see the detail of the leaf.
Yeah.
I like simplifying things, so I want to see only that leaf.
Alicia, do you have any comments? I know you were working.
She here?
She was, but she was on mute because she was had family time. So, okay, well, that was our night. I want to thank our panelists. I think you did a fabulous job of very thoughtful feedback and constructive coaching, and shouts out to you. Thank you very much, because it's very helpful. I guess I just want to remind everybody that start thinking about your images that you submitted to critique night through the year. We'll have, I think it's 3, as Ann was saying, that can be submitted to the May competition. And any of your friends that have been in Camera Club that haven't been participating in critique night are allowed, I believe, to do 1 image for the May competition. Any other comments, Ann?
No, we'll get out an email to everybody with all the details.
Great. So it sounds like we've got some great programming. It'll continue on Zoom through April, but then the May competition results, if we're lucky, well, I think we're totally planning on having the critique night live at the church at the first Monday of May. So thank you, everybody. Fabulous set of photos tonight. Should be
Yep.
all proud of yourselves. This was great work. Thank you.
Shift tab, Rags, to get back to your standard view.
Oh, okay. Oh, shift tab.
Yep,
Shift
just
tab?
shift tab again.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
And I'm going to stop share. Dave, is there any other comments you want to close us out with?
No, other than great pictures. I'm glad that everybody submitted what they did.
Yeah.
Keep
Okay.
shooting. We've got, actually from now on, I think our, opportunities are growing to get a lot of nice, great pictures. Spring
Yeah.
brings on a lot of nice changes.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I'm going to put Steve Engel on the spot. So Steve, will you be doing your wildflower little meetup this spring, maybe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna
Yeah.
clear that through Amy.
Amy,
And,
yeah, through
yes,
Amy, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want to go back to one of the same spots or I want to try to find a new one, so.
Okay, all right,
The
great.
last one that we went to, well, not the last one, the one before that, was a little bit of a drive, but it was well worth it.
Okay,
So, I think everybody would like that one again because there's so much more you can do there. I think it was, Pete's Woods is the name of it.
yeah,
Google
Good.
Pete's Woods and kind of get an idea where it is and what it's about. But I mean,
Okay.
it's a beautiful place.
yeah, great. I know. Yeah, you always deliver great results when you have those wildflower workshops. Those are awesome. So thank you.
yeah, and
Okay.
start thinking what you people might put in a photo exhibit, because like Alicia announced, or Rags announced for her, that looks like we will be getting an exhibit up hopefully this fall. So yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you,
great.
everybody. Thank you, Rags, Ann,
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, Marilyn. Great
Thank you,
job,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Hope to see you all Saturday.